Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel, welcome to my custom blue, green, purple palette. This is what I would like to feature in today's video, and the reason for that being that I did film a video with this where I sort of put some of the shadows in, and I have been using this quite a bit actually over the past year since I built this to really try out everything, but I felt I hadn't done a dedicated video just to these shadows. So today's video is going to be a couple of things. I'm going to talk about everything that's in here, and then we are also going to be sort of going over some looks I did with this. I'm going to show you swatches of all of these shades. Something you should know about this palette is that it features 4 different brands. It's got Nabla, it's got Sidney Grace, it's got Anastasia, and it's got colored Raine. And I'm not entirely sure anymore which is which, so I do have to apologize a little bit about that. So what I would like to do first is take everything out and sort of group it into those different brands and then show you which ones that I have, because I think that that will be the best way to go about it. Right, so the palette is empty. I forgot to say that there's actually a 5th brand in here. This is by Makeup Forever. This was in a Christmas limited edition palette. I'm not sure what it is called because it doesn't have a name. So this is that Makeup Forever shadow. It's like a blue, green, brown sort of shifty shade. So I completely forgot about that. So since I don't think I have a separate swatch of this, let me just make sure that I swatch this for you. I think that's a good place to start. That would be that shade right there. Then in here as well are 4 shades by Colored Raine, and Colored Raine was a brand that at this point I hadn't tried any of their palettes yet. I now own the what's it called again? The Queen of Hearts palette, and that's really nice quality as well. But I heard great things about their sort of singles, and as you can see, these fall more into like the blue-green spectrum. I definitely tried to do a little bit of everything here. I have Malibu, which looks like that. I have Forbidden, which is like a deep blue-green. It's got a nice like green shift to it, like this really nice sort of dimension. Then I have Blue Magic, which is an intense like navy shimmer, but it's got a good deal of brightness to it because of that shimmer. And then I have Blue Neo Blue, that's what it's called, and this is a matte electric blue shade, and those are really difficult to do, but I feel that for a matte electric blue, this is really, really well done. There we have the Makeup Forever one. That's Malibu, Forbidden, Blue Magic, and Neo Blue by Colored Raine. So that's those ones. And these are really nice, but I feel that the shimmers are definitely a bit better than this matte. But they were very enjoyable to work with. The quality of all of these shadows is really, really good. Then the other sort of like smaller amount in here are these 6 shadows by ABH. I wanted to try some ABH singles, and again, I wanted it to go with the palette, so that's why I sort of have an array here of like, yeah, blues, greens, and 2 purples, you could say, but they are definitely different kinds. This one right here is called Venice, and this is like a blue. This is very soft, which is nice. Let me swatch it here. So this is like a blue with like a goldy green shift. It's really, really stunning. I will show you a close-up in a minute. And then this other one is called Mermaid, which is like a really murky, like darker green. And this one is one that you do need to like build up a little bit. It's got like almost like a bit of gray to it. It's really nice. I think, yeah, like fish scales. That sort of reminds me of fish scales a little bit. And then we have this bluey one called Prussian Blue. And this is, again, that really nice, lovely, soft texture. It is a much deeper sort of like, again, more of like a gray tone navy, you could say, but it has a really nice dimension to it. You can definitely use this to deepen up a look, even though I know a lot of people don't like deepening things up with shimmers, but I personally don't mind. And then last but not least, I have Dragonfly, and this sounded a bit more unique on the website than what I felt it did in real life. It's not a bad shadow at all. Like, the quality of all of these is really nice. But again, like Mermaid, this is one that you sort of need to build up. And when you get it up to full intensity, it's like a blue with a purple shift. So that's why it goes really well with everything else that's here. And it's a very unique shade. It's just a little bit more difficult to work with. And then I've got these two purples. This is Enchanted. This is one of my favorite shades in this entire palette, because it's like a darker purpley shade that it's just, oh, look at that. You can like pull it and it just goes on forever. So that's one of my favorite shades in this entire palette. Again, a great one for deepening it up because it has that black base to it. Really lovely as a liner too. And then next up we have Electro. And this is one that when I got it, I was like, oh, what am I going to do with that? Because it looks more pink in real life than I had expected. I bought all of these online. And again, it is one that you need to build up. It is a bit more sheer, but there you have it. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is a pink with a purple flash. And I think that that's stunning. So let me show you a close-up of these. So there you have a close-up of those ABH shadows. So we have Venice, we have Mermaid, we have Prussian Blue, Dragonfly, Enchanted, and Electro. So another section in here are my Nabla shadows. And Nabla has some great eyeshadow. I had already tried one of their palettes by the time I really started playing around with these. And I do have to say that their singles quality, as I had heard people say, is better, I would say, than their palette quality. Like, if you truly want to try Nabla, go for their singles. You do have to know that the pans of Nabla singles are larger than most standard pans, which is something I made a mistake with when I placed an order for all of this, because I believe I ordered in like 2 batches, and I had a 35 pan palette, and I was like, oh, it's going to fit because it's 35 pans, and then these ended up being bigger. So that was a bit of a shame. That being said, however, the quality of these is lovely. Again, I've got some purples, I've got some greens, and I've got some blues here as well. This is also like a blue shade, but it's a very different one. So I definitely sort of have darker blues in this palette and like more like towards the navy end of the spectrum. But then I also have these like more aqua kind of shades because I tend to like that. So we've got this purple here. This is called Lilac. And this is quite sheer, I have to say. This is one that is really nice in the inner corner or like topping it up. So this is not something that really will have great opacity straight away. It's not a very opaque shadow. And Pegasus is like the same. I think it's just called Pegasus, right? Yeah, Pegasus. And this is really pretty too. And this is like a lilac with like a gold shift to it. I've never seen anything like it. But I do think that Sidney Grace, which is a brand we'll talk about in a minute, has something similar in The Greatest Gift. But this is like a very light lilac base, and then it shifts to gold. Very stunning. Very unique. Great in the inner corner or all over the lid. And then I have a matte purple here called Erisia. And you guys, you barely have to touch these and then you get really good pigmentation. Again, purples can be difficult to do, and I feel that this looks absolutely stunning. Just great. Then we have this like bluey shade. It's called Freestyler. And this is like a gray tone blue. And then it also, again, has that more goldy shift to it. So it is a little bit similar to Pegasus, but the shift on Pegasus is just a lot more intense than this Freestyler shade. And then this one, hold your horses, you guys. This is probably one of the best eyeshadows Nabla has ever done. This is called New Heaven. And again, barely touching this. Can you see that? Boom. Pigment. And this is such a unique shade. I haven't seen a lot of brands do anything like it. It's like a matte aqua shade. It's borderline neon, but it's not exactly, and it just has really nice pigmentation. That's the swatch right there, and it's just stunning. It's just stunning. And this can, again, work really well on the lower lash line as a pop of color. In the crease, stunning. And then we have Virgin Island. And this is another one that is quite special. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's a blue with like a purpley shift to it almost. This is so, so stunning if you wear it all over your lid. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. And then because I, of course, want to create a bit of depth and dimension, I also bought Blue Velvet, which is a really intense matte navy blue. And this feels so soft. It's like touching velvet. Like, that's how soft this eyeshadow is. And then if you swatch it, I mean, for a deep dark navy like this, that is one of the best dark navies I've ever tried. And it's great for deepening out the crease, for use as a bit of liner. I like these dark shades for that reason as well. And then we here have Babylon, and this is a teal. And you know how I feel about teals. I love teal. It's my favorite. It's sort of like in between a green and a blue. And this has such a stunning shift to it again as well. Like, there you have that one. It's like, it's got a dark blue base, but then it has like a dark green shift to it. It's like a duochrome almost. And then we have Eternity, and this is a satin, like navy shadow. It doesn't have a lot of shimmer to it, which is why this is just a very versatile shade. I feel that if a shade is not too high shine, you can very nicely buff this into the crease for a bit of added dimension. And this again has like a lighter blue sort of touch to it. Very stunning. And then last but not least, this battered shade is Under Pressure, and this is another teal shade. So I feel that these two go together quite nicely. As you can see, that Under Pressure is a bit more blue and a bit deeper as well. Like, oh, look at that. That's so stunning. All right, so these are the Nabla swatches right there. This is that darker last one. I already forgot what the name was. This right here is Eternity. This one right here is called Babylon. This is Blue Velvet. This is their no, that's Freestyler. This is, what's this called again? We have Virgin Island, New Heaven, Freestyler, Erisia, I'm never sure if I say that correctly, Pegasus, and Lilac. So that's those Nabla shadows for you. I hope you can see them well. These are my Sidney Grace singles, and these are stunning. I completely fell in love with the brand in 2019, so much so that I know that when I'm filling that cool tone palette, I will be doing it with Sidney Grace singles. They're about to do a sale, so I'm sort of waiting for that announcement to see when it is, to see if I can have some budget ready to go when they do launch that sale. These are all quite like warm toned, I feel, though, in terms of like blue, greens, and purples. This shade right here is super special. It's a great inner corner highlight. It's called Green Mist. They also do this in a blue, and they do this in a red, for those of you who are interested. So it's a white base, and then it's a really lovely duochrome shade. I'm not sure if you can see that right there. It has a really nice shift to it. Super shiny, super intense. This shade right here is called Dive, and it's a bit like Nabla's Freestyler, but I feel it's a little bit more intense in the shift. So again, in terms of like shimmer, this is just absolutely stunning. Like, this is Freestyler by Nabla, which is more blue, and this is more like a greeny blue with a gold shift to it. One of my favorites by Sidney Grace is Red Chameleon, which is this shade right here. And this is like a It starts, like, it has a brown base, like a burgundy brown base, but then it flashes like blue. It's called Red Chameleon for a reason. So it has that reddish brown, but then it pulls green, which makes it a bit more warm tone, but it goes really nicely together with some of the greens that I have in here. Then these purples. This is Pandora. And I believe that Pandora, like some of these are from their pressed pigment line, but others are from their satin line, and I believe this is a satin. But even for a satin, I'm not sure if you can see this. Let me make sure I'm in frame. This has some really nice shine to it. This is a very warm toned purple though. It has a bit of like a red undertone, so I'd like to get some more of their cooler toned ones. This is another one of my favorites. This is Winter Garden, and this is again very lovely for adding a bit of brightness. It's quite similar actually to Pegasus, but it, instead of like a gold shift, it has like a blue shift. It's like a lavender shade. It's super stunning, and this is a great cool tone shade too. Another warmer toned purple is Deliverer, and this together with Electro by ABH, so this shade and that shade together, lovely, because this has that sort of like pink flash to it. And then last but not least, for a little bit more depth, I have, this is Awake. And again, this is more of like a satin shade, but I feel that this is another one of those shades that can work in the crease if you want to. So there we have Awake. Next up, I only got like 2 real blues from them. I definitely would like to try some more blues, but I felt I already had some blues in Nabla and in the Raine series as well, so I didn't feel I needed any more. This is Fierce, and this is the perfect middle ground between a purple and a blue. It's like a blurple. And I remember I used to love this as nail polish when I was really into nail polish. I loved wearing shades like this on my nails. So a shade like this has been part of my arsenal for a long time, even when I wasn't into makeup. And then this dark blue is called Abyss. And it's a perfect name for a perfect shade. Again, a satin, but it has a really nice depth to it still, so I feel this is another one you can still use to deepen things up. And it complements nicely with some of these like Nabla shadows actually that I've just swatched it next to. Goes really well with that, just a slightly different undertone though not as gray toned, more of a navy. And then this aqua shade is Marine Waters, which I think is actually a little bit similar to Malibu by Raine. But again, this is a lot more green. As you can see, this is a lot more green than that. This is like a light blue, and this is more like a greeny turquoise. And I love turquoise like that. And then I've got some greens, because I had a lot of purples and blues in the other brands, but not a lot of greens. So I got some of their greens. This is Levy, and this is very warm toned because it has a gold flip to it. So it's actually really similar, I find, to a shade in my Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette that also has this like intense green with a gold flip. But this one is a bit darker of a green, and I think that's really stunning all over the lid. Then this is my only teal by Sidney Grace, is called Thrilled, and this is a matte. So it goes really, really nicely with some of these Nabla shades and also these like shimmers from ABH. It's really nicely complementary to that. So I definitely tried to take into account as I was purchasing these that it would all go together. And then we have Siren Call, which is a matte green. And this is quite dark, but really nice. And then I have another matte green, which is a hair lighter, and this is Turtle Bay. And these two together make just for a perfect green crease. Like, perfect, just perfect. And then last but not least, we have Starfish. And this is a little bit dark, just a little bit darker than any of the other ones, but it is a really, really stunning shimmer. Let me see where I have the space. This is like almost in the crook of my arm. Look at that. It's like a blackened forest green with green sparkle to it. It's amazing. So those are all the Sidney Grace shadows. be my entire blue-green palette. I now have to try and make sense of everything that was in here and see if I can still fit it in, because that's going to be difficult. But as you can see, the color story just goes together really, really well. I just think that if I were to make another 35 pan custom palette with some cool tones, that I then would have the neutrals that I would like to pair all of this with, because I think that these shades go really well together with cool tones. Let me see if I can put this all back together. Yay, it fits. So that was a bit of a puzzle, but I think I put it back together again. Maybe, yeah, I may want to change some things, but for now it will do. I know where everything is now. I've got my blues together, I've got my greens together, I've got my like aqua special shades together, I've got my purples together, and that's what matters. So thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel. I'm back 3 times a week with new content. And I now have a booktube channel with 1 video a week. So lots more content coming your way. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in my next one. Bye!